I've got these pieces of scrap wood here. They basically just the parts that come off of a big skid, and it's pine. And it doesn't matter about the edges or what it's like as long as you got a decent some width. But my wife is wanting to make some snowmen or owls or whatever, and she needs a bunch of circles. So with my jig, I've cut out 2.5-inch circles, 5-inch circles, about 6-inch circles, and down there at the bottom about 7-inch circles she can put together. I have this jig here. That I made many years ago when I started doing woodworking, just a cheap laminated piece of wood. But I drilled these holes out. This is 1 inch, make a 2-inch circle, 2 inch, make a 4-inch circle, and so on. You get out here 10 inches, that'll make a 20-inch circle. And I've got this little nail right here, and I just cut it off where the sharp edge goes up into the wood and the bottom doesn't. This here just locks this board in place once it gets in there so it doesn't move, and that's your turning point. What I do on this, depending on what size I want, I just take, say I want to cut out a 2-inch, and these edges are really jagged and very poor, which it doesn't matter. This is just an estimate. Say I want to cut out about a 5-inch circle, then I find my center here, 5-inch, 2.5. I just make it a little bit bigger, like 2 3/4, put a mark. And to find center, this is a little over 7 inches, so just a little over 3.5 is center. And I take this punch and I just punch it down in there. I decided to make about a 5-inch circle. So I take my pen. I find it's a little easier. I just tap it down in here into this small hole I made. You can put it in your board, but a lot of times it's hard to hit the hole when everything is underneath. So I take it, it's easier for me to find it like this. Let's say I'm gonna I just slip it down in there, and then you got it locked in place. Then I'll start running this in, and I'll cut the circle out of it. Naturally turn this off before you move anything. Then you got to pick this back up, slide it through that crack, and you got your circle cut out. Then here you can see this circle right here. But you do that for whatever size you want. If you want a 2-inch circle up to a 20-inch circle with this here, and it's very simple. Very easy to cut out and make like this. Then for other parts and pieces, for making the eyes or buttons, different size branches or just tree branches, different types of wood. I just make different sizes so she can select what size she wants to use, what size she wants to make, you know, to be able to put these together. Just remember, whenever you got something round, if you ain't holding on tight, it can spin this around, break your blade, and jam things up. So you want to hold these on tight when you're cutting these different parts. To make a hat, I'll just make it a little bit longer. To make eyes and buttons, I just cut off shorter pieces. This gives you a general idea. You can cut them real thin for eyes, buttons, bigger ones, stack them together, different things for hats, eyes, buttons, whatever you want to cut and make them with.